everybody. Vasi Vada Party, Charlie O with you on this Friday, August 20th for the Make the Money and Run podcast, powered by Stables Media, sponsored by the Britannia Arms of Cupertino. Check out the Britannia Arms of Cupertino, Silicon Valley's oldest British pub and restaurant since 1981. Check them out at BritanniaArmsDeanza.com. Give them a call at 408-257-7262. Make the Money and Run here every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Mondays, we start the week with a review of the weekend. Thursdays, we get the middle of the week taken care of. And then Friday, we go back a little bit during the week, review Thursday, and then preview the weekend of all the games that are coming up. We're right in the middle of baseball season with the division races. NFL preseason week 2 taking off. Only 3 weeks in the preseason, as you know. 2 weeks in between the last preseason game to opening night, Thursday night, September 9th, between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay, and the Dallas Cowboys. Very, very, very interesting times right now as we get through from last year to this year. It seems like a totally different stage from where we were last year to this year. Very happy to see things going. Obviously, the baseball races are all going well, and like I said, the preseason. A little golf to talk about in a little bit, but the FedEx Cup, for those that follow golf, haven't forgotten about the FedEx Cup, the last 3 tournaments of the year, and then the PGA Championship. I know you have. Top 30 people go in there, the PGA Cup. It's going to be very interesting. And the one thing that golf did is they finished their season early nowadays, so they don't have to compete with football. So that's a very smart thing for PGA golfers and all the people. There are a lot of bars, especially Britannia Arms and Cupertino and places like that. They have golf on every weekend. It's very interesting to see how people react to the golf on the weekend. So anyway, check them out. Check us out.
If you drink enough, you'll watch anything.
That's true. That's true.
You know you have enough English beer there that by the time you get through the Premier League games, which come on early, you'll watch anything by later in the day. So.
Oh, and by the way, they are open at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock for the Premier League games as well. For our day broadcast, if we have day games going on, then we'll try and be back every day. That we don't have shows by 6 Eastern, even on the days we have shows, for any later picks or any updates, because the last few weeks we haven't had full lines on baseball games with pitching changes and everything like that. I am a little distracted here for a little bit because I took a second round small pizza wager. We're going to start calling them pizza wagers on John Rahm -0.5 for the second round over Harry English. They are even at -4 for the round, so I need a birdie out of John Rahm for -0.5 to win that wager here. So a little bit of action going on right now. The Cubs and Royals will start in about an hour. It's pizza money, Charlie. I see the look on your face. It's fine. I don't need any more pizza. That's fine. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. Thanks to everybody on Facebook Live and YouTube Live for all your support, all the comments that we get. We appreciate it very much. Let's start out with the NFL here a little bit. Did you see the game? All of a sudden, the Patriots fans are back in form now. They think they're going to win the Super Bowl, and who needs Tom Brady? 35-0, the Patriots over the Eagles last night. The -1, very easy cover. Charlie O had the cover as well, too. Under 39, stayed under, no thanks to the Philadelphia Eagles and their putrid offense. Nick Sirianni is going to have to figure out. Jalen Hurts didn't play yesterday at all, and it was bad for Joe Flacco, and it was bad for I forgot who the other quarterback was for them, but Joe Flacco did not look good at all. Jalen Hurts, so whoever they're fighting out for the number 2 spot is going to be bad.
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins. Yeah, friend of the Bay Area. Nick Mullins.
You remember him.
I do remember him. Mac Jones looked great. 13 of 19, 136 yards. Cam Newton, 8 of 9 for 103 yards. He had the only touchdown. Excuse me. The star of the show for Philadelphia was the punter. Arian Sipos, 50 yards a punt on 5 punts. Gave them decent field position, but all that did was lengthen the Patriots' drives, and they end up going down 35-0, 19-0 at the half, 16-0 in the second half. So you might have even had a second half wager on New England as well. But 35-0 New England. They're 2-0 in the preseason. Not that means anything for Bill Belichick, but you have to admit it's not a bad showing by the Patriots considering all the turmoil they had last year, Charlie.
Yeah, I think that there's 2 things to take away. Number 1, the Patriots are not that good. And number 2, the Eagles aren't that bad. Remember, this is preseason, and there are different things that you're trying to get done during the preseason. And one of those is that you're not necessarily trying to win. What you're trying to do, particularly in the second game, is you're trying to see how people perform. And a lot of who you're trying to see perform are those guys that are potential second teamers, special teamers, those kind of things. Because by next week, especially with only 3 preseason games, you're going to have to start getting people in there that you're hoping to see be starters, starting to use some of those people that you're going to firm up to be second teamers. So next week gets much, much more serious. So this game had to be a game where you tried a lot of things out. So, again, Pats fans, I'm glad you got to see that. Jones, nice to see him do well. Again, he's your quarterback of the future. Will he be the quarterback that starts? I know Belichick. I doubt it. Will you see him later this year? Maybe. Depending on how Cam does. And for Philly fans, don't jump off the bridge yet. It's not that bad yet. Could it be? It's Philadelphia. Probably will be. But
you're in the NFC East, though, so it can't be all that bad.
Yeah, that's right. So, remember, it's preseason, but it's entertaining. It wasn't all that entertaining, but, you look for the bright spots. You look for the interesting spots. The punter thing, that's crazy. If this guy can perform that well during the regular season, that could be a game changer. One of the things I'll never forget the night I heard him say it was John Madden early on, when he became an analyst, said one time during a game, he said, to understand football, you only have to understand one thing. You have to win 2 out of 3 elements in a game to win. You either have to win on offense and defense, or you have to win on offense and special teams, or defense and special teams. And he said, don't ever leave out special teams, because if you win on special teams and one of those other elements, you can win the game. And I have always been a watcher of special teams since then, because he is so right. If you win special teams and can win one of those other elements, you can come out with the W.
No doubt about it. In fact, John Madden was the one who drafted Ray Guy in the first round. He ended up becoming a Hall of Fame punter, and that flips the field position out big time and helps your defense out big time. In the early years for John Madden, through his coaching style, his defense will always benefited from a good punt and pinning the opponent down inside the 20-yard line. So anyway, Taylor had 93 yards for the Patriots. Stevenson, 66 yards. Good running game for New England. What do you think, Charlie, in terms of Cam Newton and Mac Jones? I know here's the way I look at it. I heard somebody say this yesterday. I kind of agree with it, because they're going through this scenario out here in San Francisco, and obviously my Bears are going through with a 2-quarterback system. If you're a Super Bowl contender, you can't have 2 quarterbacks play. There's just no way to do it. You have to stick with somebody that you're going to play, because if you're a quarterback switching team, or if you switch a quarterback midseason, either one guy's not performing, and that's hurting your Super Bowl chances if you're a contender, or you already knew you weren't a contender going in. And so, therefore, this is an opportunity to get there. Now, I believe, I'm going to go back to my Bears again. I believe my Bears have a Super Bowl-type defense. They just don't have the offense. And Andy Dalton, even though we talked about him yesterday, is not the future of the team. Obviously, Justin Fields is. So, but I don't know if I'd put Justin Fields out there on opening night against Aaron Donald and the Rams on Sunday Night Football to begin with. But if you're going to compete in that division, because I honestly don't know how good Detroit will be or how bad Detroit will be. Minnesota's a spontaneous combustion waiting to happen right now with everything going on. Aaron Rodgers did report back to camp, but boy, their offense and defense did not look very good against Houston. And I know Jordan Love is out, and their backups are not very good. We get the reason that their backups are playing for the last 10 spots on the roster. So from a Bears standpoint, I guess I either start Justin Fields or start Dalton. And if you think you got a chance to win, then you got to stick with them through the year until you're non-contending anymore. Same with the 49ers. Same with any of the NFC East teams. Dak Prescott not playing in the preseason as well. So it'll be interesting to see. You see the Lions going across at the bottom for the preseason as well. 2 games tonight, Kansas City, Arizona, and Washington, Cincinnati, the football team, and the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. That'll be the second game on NFL Network as well, too. Kansas City, a 3-point favorite. Patrick Mahomes will probably play a couple series. Kyler Murray, I saw the replay last night of the Cowboys game. He didn't play at all last week. I'm sure he'll get in there for a quarter. He wants to get adjusted to his new teammates that are there. He's already been adjusted to Hopkins. They got to figure out a running game, and they've got who they get from Cincinnati. A.J. Green from Cincinnati. They don't have a running game. I still don't know where the running game is going to come from. And believe it or not, even though believe it or not, 5 receivers that they have, they don't have a tight end. And I think in this day and the age in NFL, you need a tight end. And I don't know who they have as a tight end. We'll find the depth charts out for next week, but I don't think there's anybody that's going to be like, I mean, nobody's George Kittle. Nobody's those types of tight ends, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. But you got to have somebody reliable to be able to catch the ball and be able to block the ball, whether you're a running team or a passing team. So going into week 2, Charlie, we've got 2 games tonight. We'll get to the Saturday games in a second. But what do you think about tonight with Kansas City, Arizona, Washington, Cincinnati?
Well, I think Arizona is going to be a good watch because, interestingly enough, people are burying Kingsbury already. I mean, people are saying there's a coaching change coming in Arizona, and we're only coming in to
when is that going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing some reading Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm going, holy cow, this guy's fired already. I mean, wow, I had no idea. But personnel wise, you're absolutely right. They're in some deep trouble there with their personnel, and there's a lot of people, a lot of analysts that are believing that he's just not the right coach for Murray. I don't know. I don't have enough background that deep to say yes or no, but I do think this is a make or break year for him in Arizona. I think they've got to make some big strides. Otherwise, I think they'll pull the trigger because they've got big hopes pinned on Murray, and they're in a division where there's a lot of success going on for other teams, and they want to be a part of that. So I think that's a big part right there. For Washington, they exceeded expectations last year, and I think they're going to exceed expectations again this year. Somehow they've been able to keep the football operation isolated from all the crap that goes on in the front office. Seriously, they've done a great job of doing that. And as long as they can do that, I expect them to do well. I think that will be I think that'll be a good situation for them. I think they'll be able to do well. I think that'll be an all right for situation for them. Chiefs, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I think they're going to be. I think you're going to have to look over your shoulder for them all season long.
Do you think anybody will contend with the Chiefs in the AFC West? Because there's some teams that the Chargers and the Broncos seem to be saying that they can play with them. Kansas City's defense is not there.
Write the Broncos off right now.
All right, what about the Raiders?
Come on. Are you kidding me? The Raiders?
Charlie.
No way. Not as long as Carr.
Because I heard somebody downplay the Chargers yesterday, and I think that's a mistake to downplay the Chargers.
I think that's a mistake too. I think this new coach, especially because he's going to make that defense better. I think they're going to be a much, much improved team. But man, I got to tell you, the Gruden experiment is a gigantic failure in Vegas. The only thing that's a success in Vegas is the Death Star and being in Vegas. Okay. I'm sorry. They spent a lot of money, and I like John Gruden. I love John Gruden. I loved him as a coach. I loved him as an analyst, but it's not working. And I don't know what's not working. I don't know whether he's not brought the right assistants. Sticking with Carr has not worked. But no, they're not a factor. And I've got we live in Raiders territory, even though they've moved to Las Vegas.
Similar. Yeah, very close.
We live in Raiders territory. And for my friends who are Raiders fans, I wish they would do well for them. But no, they're not a factor.
All right. So these are the 2 games on Friday night, Kansas City at Arizona. I'll be interested to see how Arizona's defense reacts to Kansas City tonight. I know Mahomes will not be there. They'll still get a lot of Chad Henne tonight. But Arizona, if they're going to step up in the NFC West, they're going to have to play some defense tonight. The offense will have to shine a little bit, I guess is the best way to put it, so that they can show what they've got a little bit to the other NFC West teams, that they're not afraid to go up against Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams as well. Washington 5.5, Cincinnati. I'll be interested. I don't know if Joe Burrow is healthy enough to come back yet. I don't think he is. No. Their defense is really good. If they can play some offense, I think they ran the ball last week pretty well. against Tampa Bay. I think that in our picks tonight, I'll give it to you. I actually taken a couple of preseason games tonight, so I'll be interested to see how this goes. I still think there's going to be a lot of offense in Arizona tonight, and I think Cincinnati can play with Washington, so that'll be a little tease. All right, let's move on to Saturday. We got the ticker going on Saturday here, but we'll bring that up right now. Saturday games will be interesting. The Bears and Buffalo, the Mitch Trubisky reunion is going to take place on Saturday. Justin Fields will have his show. Andy Dalton, who says it's still his time. They're 4.5-point favorites over Buffalo. Obviously, Buffalo not going to play anybody. They're one of the favorites in the NFL and the AFC as well as maybe even Super Bowl contention. Bears and Bills on Saturday. Jets and Packers. I mean, hey, Charlie, tell me the preseason rules here. Are they playing 15-minute quarters? Something like this? Some of these totals are very low for this type of NFL with the way the rules are. I mean, look at this Jets-Green Bay game. 31.5 for the Jets and Green Bay. The Jets are favored at Green Bay, 2.5. We saw Zach Wilson falling around Aaron Rodgers like a puppy dog all week. And then the Atlanta Falcons are having a tough time putting any type of offense together. Tennessee and over them last week, and now Miami's a 5-point favorite, and I'm not sure how good Miami is, and we're still trying to figure out if the Tua experiment is there. Baltimore, 3 at Carolina. They got Super Bowl aspirations. Carolina played okay. I think they're going to have a better year than people think. McCaffrey's back. Sam Darnold. I like Sam Darnold. I think he just got a raw deal in New York. No doubt in my mind that he got a raw deal in New York. Pittsburgh 6 versus Detroit, and Dan Campbell. Yikes, Dan Campbell getting ready and fired up. He cut his 40-year-old long snapper on his birthday yesterday, so apparently
is that terrible?
Tampa Bay.
You're going to cut the guy. When's a good day to cut the guy?
That's true. Well, I put 17 years in the league, so I'm not feeling too bad for Don Muehlbach, the long snapper for the Detroit Lions, by the way. And I bet he'll find a job somewhere during the year anyway. Tampa Bay, Tennessee, again, don't know. Tennessee has everybody back. Don't know how much they'll play. Tennessee trying to improve their defense from last year because I think they were a Super Bowl contender last year if they played any defense. 35 the total there. Dallas, Houston, they don't like each other, so it might be interesting. Still no Dak Prescott. J.J. Watt gone from Houston. Their defense has to step it up. Dave Culley's got a show in front of him. No sign on the Deshaun Watson case yet. Minnesota 1.5, spontaneous combustible. Can't believe they're favored against Indianapolis, even a preseason game, 37.5. Ken Sterling, you out there, give us a little shout on Indianapolis, Minnesota. Raiders at SoFi, 6.5-point favorites, 35 the total. Rams, no offense last week. Doesn't sound like Matthew Stafford is going to play in any of the 3 preseason games. And frankly, the way these coaches are going this year with the 3 preseason games and the combined practices, I think they're getting more out of that than they are the games, which doesn't help the wagers here from this standpoint. And Denver's at Seattle. It doesn't sound like Russell Wilson's going to play at all this preseason as well, too. But what an offense they have. They improve any defense at all. The NFC West is going to be a great division anyway. But don't count out Seattle because I got a feeling that Pete Carroll's going to, quote unquote, let Russ cook this year. 37.5 the total in that game. All right, Charlie, the first half of Saturday, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I think my projection is the reason these totals are so low this week is because we're going to see a lot of second teamers. We're going to see a lot of third team quarterbacks because this is the week where they've got to start making a decision on a lot of cuts. And so I think that's why everything's down. Like, for instance, I don't think Love is going to play for Green Bay. The last I heard, he was not going to play. So you're going to see maybe Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays, and then I don't know who's quarterbacking for Green Bay at that point. Are you?
We don't have the depth chart yet.
Yeah,
we'll find the depth chart before the end.
Yeah, so at that point, who cares? And the total just goes to the toilet. So I think that's one of the reasons why the totals are so down at this point. I think things to watch. Obviously, we want to watch the deal in Chicago. By the way, I want to jump back for just a second. You were talking about quarterbacks and doing the dual quarterback thing. I think in Chicago they're going to roll with Dalton first, and if Dalton takes charge there, I think they'll stay with him, which I think is the best thing for Fields.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think if you can give that guy time to develop, it'll be the best thing for him. Now, if Dalton stutter steps out and by week 5, 6 isn't making it happen, then Hello, Justin, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, they won't be contending. Well, they won't be contending at that point if they start
Yeah.
out bad too, as well. If Andy Dalton gets off to a great start and Justin Fields is learning, then they've got something going on there. So either you make the decision to start Joe Flacco, the last rookie quarterback, to take a team to the AFC Championship, and they were really 3 plays away from beating Pittsburgh that year, if you remember, back in 2008, and they were right there in the Super Bowl. Willis McGahee running the ball, and they're obviously that defense with Ray Lewis back in the day. Clearly one of the best things that happened for Brian Billick and the Baltimore Ravens. An update: John Rahm birdied the last hole, actually parred the last hole. Harry English bogeyed the last hole. So that's a winner on the early day start for the round two. Round two. That means I get 2 pizzas unless I can find a buy one, get one, and use the original money for another second round bet later in the afternoon. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Bossy Vada Party, Charlie O with you here on the Make the Money and Run podcast. I was so excited. I pulled my plug out. Oh, thanks, Didi. I appreciate it. Somebody likes my shirt out there, so I appreciate it. Thanks for the shout out on the brand new shirt. I went out and got some shirts. This one is Hula Girls. I'm not sure exactly how it goes with my personality, but anyway, here I am. I'm just trying a new look here, Charlie. I'm not sure exactly where we're going with that. Nothing really to talk about in the NFL preseason. We got a lot of baseball to talk about in terms of that. Bossy Vada Party, Charlie O here for the Make the Money and Run podcast. Let's hit the Sunday games real quick since we're not going to be on until Sunday. Keep checking our social media for Saturday and Sunday picks. Tomorrow we'll have our picks by noon Eastern, 9 a.m. If we have picks, of course we'll have picks. It's a weekend. We're going to have picks. And then Sunday, usually 1 o'clock baseball starts. I don't think anything starts earlier than 1 o'clock Eastern on Sundays as far as baseball, and maybe a 4th round golf. I might put that out at 3 o'clock in the morning West Coast time. Who knows? They're in New Jersey, so they'll start later. So we're just going off tangent here. It's been a long week, folks. So I'm just trying to get through this here right now for the NFL. Sunday games back on track here. Cleveland 5.5 over the Giants, the Odell Beckham reunion tour on Sunday. 49ers 5.5 at the Chargers. Does this mean Justin Herbert's not playing? They've had 2 combined practices. I think Wednesday and Thursday, the 2 combined practices. Now they're going to practice individually today and tomorrow. They're going to be at SoFi on Sunday. It's going to be a big weekend in LA. The Rams are at SoFi on Saturday night. The Chargers are there on Sunday night. I mean, these are weekends that people in Los Angeles are dreaming of when they didn't have any football.
You know who the happiest people in the world are in Southern California right now?
The guy that owns the Rams.
The parking concession guys.
Yeah.
You know what I found out? Our buddy Damon Bruce, who's at my sibling station.
Yes, I love Damon.
95.7.
I know him well.
San Francisco. Parking across the street at the Forum, there at SoFi, $100.
Yep.
$100 to park.
Well, you only get 10 of them, so you make the money on that. Giants playoff games for $75. I know.
Holy cow!
I know. I get it. I don't understand it, but I get it. But that's the way it's going right now. I understand that. And Damon, he will always find the stories that aren't relevant to the games right now. But we're a wagering show, and I know I get a lot of flack from him on that as well too. Cleveland, New York, 5.5. The Cleveland's hyped up again this year for the AFC North. Pittsburgh and Baltimore still the favorites, I think. And then of course you got Cincinnati running up the rear, but they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. 49ers, Chargers. We live in Northern California, Charlie. The Trey Lance train is starting to take shape now. Again, this is the same situation we talked about Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. You got to start with one and hope that they are successful because this is a Super Bowl team. And I've had conversations with 49er beat writers and people that are in with the 49ers that know the 49ers really well. If you have to have a 2-quarterback system, then either A, somebody got hurt, which you hope nothing like that happens, or B, you didn't get off to the start you want, and now you're not in contention as far along as you thought you were going to be for the preseason, from draft day through training camp through the preseason. Your thoughts on the 49ers from that standpoint, because you follow them closely.
Well, I also have been in contact with a number of beat writers for the 49ers and also podcasters, and Jimmy G is going to start. Jimmy G is the starting quarterback for the 49ers. I mean, I know everybody's, Trey Lance. Okay. Yeah. He's a great young potential quarterback. He's good. He's got all of the elements of being what you want in the quarterback of the future in the NFL. He's young. He's 20 years old. He played at FBS. He's got a ton to learn.
He hasn't played in 2 years either.
Yeah. And the best thing he can do is be behind Jimmy G and learn. That's what they want. This is Jimmy G's team.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Shanahan wanted. And what they want is they want Garoppolo to be healthy all season long and lead this team right into the playoffs and potentially right on into the Super Bowl. The only way that Trey Lance is starting at quarterback is if something, God forbid, happens to Jimmy G physically. Otherwise, he's the quarterback.
Monday night, the Saints 4.5 over Jacksonville. They turned the ball over a lot against the Ravens. Taysom Hill had 2 interceptions early in the game. Jameis Winston looked like he was leading the offense a little bit, trying to efforts to get Mike Triplett, the Saints reporter from ESPN, on our show this week. Was hoping for Monday. That may not happen with the Monday night game, but I'll be interested to see what the Saints do in terms of Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Their defense looked to be pretty good against the Ravens, even on the road. Jacksonville, we've talked about Jacksonville a ton already with Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence. They cut Tim Tebow the other day. So,
or Tim.
Yeah, I know. It's just a matter of how they're going to run the offense. If this thing goes south, again, quoting Damon Bruce, I heard his show yesterday, a little bit quoting him. He said, if this goes bad, you don't know what kind of card Urban Meyer is going to play, whether it's going to want to be back with the family, or he doesn't even make the 4 years, or it just goes so bad that the NFL, this is a different game. He's never coached in the NFL. He sent players to the NFL, but he's never coached in the NFL. And he could get eaten alive, or his innovations could end up being very successful. He's got a good start with Trevor Lawrence right there as far as Jacksonville goes. So any thoughts on Jacksonville here, Charlie?
Well, I think the best question is, does Trevor Lawrence start for Jacksonville week 1? I mean, do you start him?
Yes. I think so.
And I think you have to. Even if you don't want to, I think you have to. He's the number 1 draft pick in the draft. Yeah. You've had all of this pub on him basically for 2 years.
Plus, they're in a different situation than the other teams that are contending.
Yeah. I mean, I like Minshew, and I, he's a good guy, but I don't think Urban Meyer has a choice. And that's not a good position to be in as a coach, especially when you're making the transition from the TV booth and eventually, ultimately from college onto the field. That's not a great position to be in, but he doesn't have a choice. He's got to put Lawrence out there and then get on his hands and knees and say, dear God, help me. And I agree with
But he took the job. So he knows what he's getting himself into.
Well, yeah, but I agree with Damon. I don't think he'll make the 4 years. I really don't. It's a ton of pressure, and we know that pressure gets to him. And, you get the top pick because you got the crummiest team. I mean, that's
consistently. That's my favorite saying in the NBA. You're always in the draft. You're the highest, the Jets. You're always right there in the draft, and that's the highest point of the year for everybody.
Lawrence was the greatest quarterback in football because he was on one of the top 3 teams in college football. He's now on the worst team in the NFL.
Right. He's going to lose more than one game this year.
Exactly.
Trevor Lawrence.
So, it's going to be an experiment, and at times and hey, don't get me wrong. I like Urban Meyer. I like Lawrence. I want everybody to do well, but it's going to be ugly.
Well, I'll say this. When he's not coaching, he's a nice guy. I got to know him a little bit over the last 4 years with his broadcasting duties. So he's very thoughtful in terms of his thoughts, and he knows what he's doing from a coaching standpoint, but he just may not have the talent, and he may be in for a rude awakening in terms of the NFL game because he's a rookie coach coming in against these guys that have been coaching for years and years and years. All right, let me update the FedEx Cup. I already told you about my winner real quick. This is the second of three tournaments that are going to take place. Tony Finau at -11. He finished at 7 under for the day, had a great round. John Rahm, who's everybody's favorite, second COVID incident for John Rahm, but he's back and healthy. He shot -4 today after a -8 yesterday. He leads at -12. He was the favorite going in. I think it's 6-1. Northern Trust at Liberty National in Jersey City. Eventually, the PGA Championship will be the top 30. The next 2 weeks are in Owings Mills, Maryland, a very nice town in Maryland. I've not been there, but I've heard really good things about it. It's near Baltimore. And the PGA Tour Championship will be in Atlanta. It'll be hot in 2 weeks, even in September. East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta. How you doing, Len Connecting? Good to hear from you every once in a while. Maybe you'll be a volunteer. Maybe you'll be a volunteer at that tournament too, because you like to post Augusta all the time. So that's the golf update. Vasu Vatapalli with a winner on the second round of John Rahm winning by one shot in the second round of the Northern Trust at Liberty National, Jersey City, the FedEx Cup golf. It's like tennis for me. The majors to me are right there as well. All right, Vasu Vatapalli here. Britannia Arms of Cupertino is our sponsor, Silicon Valley's oldest British restaurant and pub since 1981. Check out Mike and Tommy over there, BritanniaArmsDianza.com, 408-257-7262. We're very thankful for that. A lot of baseball to talk about after the break. The Make the Money and Run podcast, Vasu Vatapalli, Charlie O, every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Thanks to everybody on Facebook. In fact, let's get to the Facebook comment. Let's thank somebody right now. Hi, Phil. How are you? The weather in Jersey this weekend, I doubt they're going to finish. Well, Phil, you know what? We don't need any negativity here, Phil. Thank you. I'd rather see them finish the tournament. Don't tell me to save my money on wagering here. I know what you're talking about. Now, I love Phil. Phil, a longtime Cubs fan, longtime writer in the Chicago area, moved to New Jersey, handling his business in New Jersey. Every once in a while, we get a chance to talk. And if he wants to complain about the Cubs, there is no better person to talk to of all the Cubs fans in the world than to hear Phil Joyner complain about the Cubs. It is some of the greatest conversations I've had in my life. And I know I'm going to hear a second comment on that as well, too. So that's
Give
fine.
it to him, Phil. Give it to him.
I know. All right, 30 seconds. We'll be back. A lot of baseball to talk about. 6 weeks till the end of the regular season. Dodgers, Giants in the West. Brewers in the Central. Braves playing well in the East. Tampa Bay still rolling. The Chicago White Sox lost one yesterday. They're still rolling. And the American League West, Houston and Oakland, having themselves a showdown this weekend in their different series that they have. 30 seconds. We'll be back with all the baseball. This is the Make the Money and Run podcast for Friday, August 20th, 2021. Hello, everybody. Friday edition, part 2 of the Make the Money and Run podcast. Vasu Vatapalli, Charlie O. This is the Friday edition of August 20th, 2021. We review the week, preview the weekend. A lot to preview this weekend in terms of Major League Baseball. We're here every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Check out the times on Facebook and YouTube Live. If you miss any of the live broadcasts, feel free to download, subscribe, rate, and review. Send us comments to our email address. Get at us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Every day we try and get some extra picks there, some updates by 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock on the West Coast. If we have later games to talk about or later games that we change our mind on, we want to make sure we get that out to you before the games start. Usually games start at 7 o'clock, so we want to make sure we get all the information out to you. That's part of our service here at Make the Money and Run. We're sponsored by Britannia Arms of Cupertino, Silicon Valley's oldest British restaurant and pub since 1981. BritanniaArmsDianza.com at 408-257-7262, and we thank them for their sponsorship as well. All right, the National League lines, we'll have the National League games go at the bottom, but right now it's very interesting to see how the National League is going. We'll start with the National League in a second here as I get to this. Let's see here. A couple things that I wanted to make sure that I got. Oh, yeah, here we go. NL. Dodgers get a 4-1 victory over the Mets. I had the, oh boy, they score 9 runs the day before, and they come back with 4 runs against the Mets. Walker pitched okay. Another bullpen game for the Dodgers. I don't know, Charlie. I'm a Dodgers fan. They're red hot. They've won 10 out of 11. Their only loss last week, I don't even remember when they lost last week, but they swept the Mets. They swept the Pirates. They've got the first game against the Mets last night. They've got 3 more against New York. These City Connect jerseys, by the way, are terrible for the Dodgers, as are all the teams' jerseys. We'll get to that in a second.
Them? I love them.
No, that's not the Dodgers uniform I grew up.
Now, here's the deal. Because you're a Dodgers fan, you hate them. Okay, I understand that.
I hate all the City Connect jerseys.
Oh no! Oh, that Chicago, that Southside
It's all
uniform.
blue. It's the all blue part I don't like.
Oh, oh man, I
South
think that
side. The Chicago Cubs are north side.
no.
Oh, you're talking about the White Sox. Okay, yeah.
The White Sox. I know where I'm at there.
Okay. I was born on the south side. You had me confused for a second.
You know, that Southside jersey that the Sox are wearing. Oh man, that's awesome. You know,
Okay.
come on. Everybody's got to get with it. You know what? Even the Giant. I started off not liking the Giants.
Where's the
jersey,
red and the regular Giants uniforms?
You know, so I just got the come on, we got to first of all they got to get with it because the NBA is selling more merchandise than anybody because they've gone to this stuff and it's about merchandising.
Of course it is.
You know what? I really like the Dodgers look. Now you're never going to like it because you're a Dodgers fan. But
I like alternate jerseys. I mean, we'll get to all of that in a second, but I like alternate jerseys.
I like it.
Okay. Well, you like it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I get it. I just think the alternate jersey, if you want to market, then sell then wear 7 different jerseys in a season, like the Oregon Ducks in college football. Just do that and sell them, but keep your same colors. Don't change the colors just because of that. The National League lines are going at the bottom. We'll break down the National League games in a second. The Dodgers get a 4-1 victory over the Mets. Those of you that look at the games back standings, forget the half games. Just look at the loss column. That way, I didn't consider the Dodgers picked up any ground on the Giants at all. All that means is they did not lose any games in the loss column. They're 3 back of the Giants in the loss column, which is the most important column to go by. The Mets struggling right now. They got the 1 win in San Francisco, swept by the Dodgers. 2 out of 3 lost to San Francisco, and probably 3 out of 4, unless one of the Dodgers pitchers goes down. They could get swept again in Los Angeles right now. They're 5 games back in the National League East. The Giants and Padres were off yesterday. St. Louis, how about this? Now, you know what? This is one that I want. Wagering purposes, I was going to take 2 games last night on live wagering. I rarely do live wagering. The Cardinals were down 4-1 in that game in about the 5th inning. They were plus 550 on the live wagering. I missed out on that because I really thought about that. I ended up taking the Dodgers over last night. I did not win that game. But St. Louis coming back on a plus 550 would have been a nice little chunk of change to go in. They beat the Brewers. So actually, they salvaged 1 game out of the 3-game series. They're 2 games back in the wild card of the San Diego Padres, who can't seem to get out of their own way. Cincinnati got a victory over Miami yesterday, 6-1. They are 1 game back. These are all loss columns, folks. Don't pay attention to the games back. Cincinnati 1 game back of San Diego. They beat Miami 6-1. How about the Philadelphia Phillies in the East? They get swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks 4 straight. Madison Bumgarner, since he's come off the injured list, had pitched well, but that's Zach Wheeler going for the Philadelphia Phillies. And I know the Phillies bats have been struggling all year. Even their own announcers have said that as well, too. But the Philadelphia Phillies go on the road and get swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks 4 straight. Atlanta now have 4 games on Philadelphia, 5 on New York. If I had to choose between Philadelphia and New York, I would have to take Philadelphia because I just don't think the Mets offense is there. That's my personal opinion on it. I think that's going to show at the end of the year. All right, Charlie, we hit the National League. The Giants, we'll hit the Giants and the Padres. The Padres have Philadelphia this weekend. The Giants have the A's this weekend. We'll hit the A's in the American League segment. The Dodgers have the Mets this weekend. St. Louis has Pittsburgh. Milwaukee has Washington. Milwaukee running away with the Central. I don't think we got to worry about that. And then Cincinnati with Miami this weekend. Philadelphia, we said, going to San Diego. And Atlanta is at Baltimore. And Philadelphia, we said San Diego, and the Mets and the Dodgers are playing. So take it away with the National League, Charlie.
Well, gosh, this is a weekend for a lot of teams to get healthy. You look at that Reds Marlins. I mean, the Reds need to take advantage of that. By the way, I just have to take a little aside. Did you see Joey Votto last night?
Yeah.
With that kid? That was just awesome.
Joey Votto's the best.
If you haven't seen it, go to ESPN, go to your favorite highlight site, or watch it on Sports Center or Quick Pitch. There was a little kid up in the left field stands, bleachers, and they made some contacts. Somebody saw him, and Joey, when he hit a home run, gave him the finger point, and then the little kid and he made contact again when Joey was over at first base. and they're waving at each other. I'm telling you, it almost brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah, that's great. He's a good guy.
Because it's what baseball's about.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a lot of big money and we get all caught up in that, but it was a moment of what baseball's all about. And it was fantastic. Okay, enough of that.
Hi, Lori. Go Cubs Go by Lori over there. Lori and Phil Friends. We have to get a three-way call here going at some point because I know I'm going to hear about it at some point. I still am a White Sox fan if I had to pick a Chicago team, Lori. Sorry, I'll get that as well, too, from them as well. So,
but
anyway.
Reds have a chance to get healthy against the Marlins. They need to take that series. They can do well. Braves, I mean, the Braves drew the good card. I mean, being up against the O's. The O's have lost 15 in a row now.
Yep. They had a rough week with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they just need to go in there and just stomp on those guys. And this is a good chance for them to make a little hay there, and they can do that. And so that's a good one for them. The Dodgers have a beat up, dying Mets team. By the way, did you see that the Mets were on the edge of making a huge trade with the Cubs that included Chris Bryant?
They wanted Chris Bryant to play third base, no doubt about it.
And they were about to do it, and they found out that DeGrom was possibly injured. They had DeGrom go out. He threw 36 pitches, and they said, nope, he's going on the IL, and we think it's going to be for a while. So they backed out of that. So there was about to be a blockbuster deal there. And when they realized that DeGrom wasn't going to go.
Because they're not going to win without DeGrom. Because their offense is lacking right now. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Giants leading by, like I said, by 3 games. The Padres are 10 games back in the wild card of the Dodgers, 11 back overall.
That's 2 desperate teams. I mean, Phillies, Padres this weekend. That's a battle of desperation. I mean, there's 2 teams there that have got to figure it out. And the Padres, you look at their IL situation. I mean, that's a mash unit.
I know it is. And they're desperate by bringing Tatis back into the outfield, even though they're 10 games back. They still have the second wild card. They're a game up on the Reds. Remember, everybody, this isn't last year. It's only going to be 1 wild card game, too. So You got to get healthy, and you got to get that one game. You got to get that one hot starter there on the wild card weekend if the Dodgers don't catch them. I guess the only way that they would play in the NLCS is if the Brewers overtake the Giants for the best record. Otherwise, it's wild card versus the best seed. Walker Buehler in his tight pants go up against Carlos Carrasco tonight, 255, 8.5 the total there. San Diego, 210 versus Philadelphia. What's the over-under on Blake Snell innings pitched for the game? Because for some reason, anywhere between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning, he just loses it. Walks 5 guys, maybe a wild pitch in there, couple of hits in there. Matt Moore has been okay for the Phillies. Never thought I'd say that in about 3 years, but that's what the Phillies are going with right now. Blake Snell and Matt Moore tonight in San Diego. San Diego, cool weather, but I'm not sure that 9 is safe right now. Hi, Christine. Padres are suffering right now. Total mash unit. Thanks for watching, Christine. But yeah, very interesting series with Philadelphia and San Diego, 2 desperate teams. Philadelphia in a little bit of a better situation. The wild card situation, as we said, the Phillies are, as we go back to that, the wild card situation. Cincinnati 1 up on San Diego. Philadelphia, like I said, gets swept. They're 4 back, and Atlanta is 4 up on Philadelphia and 5 on New York in the East. It's going to be interesting in terms of this wild card, in terms of the National League, Charlie. But you look at these games tonight that we have. Cincinnati, Miami, you talked about them. Milwaukee, Washington. This is a chance for Milwaukee to kind of increase their lead as well, or at least stay pat, depending on what Cincinnati does. Miles Mikolas is coming back for the Cardinals. That could be huge for them. They're only 2 back in the wild card of the Padres, and I think they're playing really well. The game last night, coming back from 4-1, even though their bullpen has all sorts of problems in there. Mitch Keller going for the Pirates. Pirates have major leaguers on them. They can't take them lightly. Pirates have always given the Cardinals trouble, but Miles Mikolas coming back into the rotation will definitely help them. How about those Colorado Rockies? I know the game doesn't mean anything, but certainly from a wagering standpoint, 42 home wins this year. 3rd best in Major League Baseball, better than the Giants, better than the Dodgers. I think Tampa Bay has more wins than them in the American League. Austin Gomber, one of the best pitchers. Taylor Gilbert coming off the no-hitter for Arizona. It's going to be in Colorado, 11.5 the total tonight. I don't know. I certainly am not going to take Arizona, even though Taylor Gilbert came off it, but you got to think that Colorado is going to be a team to play the way they play at home, Charlie.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to roll with those odds, right? I mean, good heavens,
42
roll
and
with those
14.
odds. You keep rolling those dice until you crap out. I mean, that's unbelievable.
No doubt.
Way that's going.
No doubt. The National League, very interesting. All the wild cards all set up as well, too. All right, we move over to the American League. These are the games. Let's get to the notes in the American League. The Rays keep rolling, 7-2 win over Baltimore. Talked about Baltimore and their losing streak. Tampa Bay is up 5 on New York and 7 on Boston. What happened to Boston? 9 up on Toronto. Rays hold on here. We got 6 weeks to go. Seems like they've got everything in place. They were looking to try and add some pieces. They did add some pitching pieces, very minor pieces, but the way Kevin Cash manages down there in Tampa, they've got it rolling everywhere down there. Toronto's kind of faltered a little bit. They've got a series this weekend with the Tigers, so they may be able to make up some wild card games as well too. Chicago had their 3-game winning streak snapped by the Oakland A's yesterday. The A's took the last game of the 4-game series. They broke their 4-game losing streak. They're still trailing Houston by 3. Houston beat Kansas City in extra innings yesterday. How about the Royals taking 3 out of 4 from Houston? Houston up 3 on Oakland and 6 up on Seattle. Seattle almost blew that game yesterday. They had a 5-run lead going to the 9th inning, and for some reason the Mariners could not hold it. They end up winning in 11, 9-8. But they're only 6 back, and they haven't lost in a while. They've got a big series this weekend. We'll get to all the series in a second. They've got Houston this weekend. So if they want to make some hay, it's tough to win in Houston, but Seattle's going to be right there. Here's the wild card standings. New York 1 up on Oakland after the 7-5 win over Minnesota yesterday. Oakland leads Boston by 1. Seattle and Toronto by 3. 8 up. I put 8 up on Cleveland because it's less than double digits. There's still 6 weeks. Cleveland and LA the Angels are both 8 back in the wild card standings. Too many teams to go by. I don't know if they'll be able to get there. And the Angels, how about the Angels? You know what? They didn't give up. I had the Tigers yesterday. I was feeling pretty good at 10-2 yesterday, Charlie. And then all of a sudden, the old Detroit Tigers pitching staff came in, and I'm watching that. It was 10-2 Tigers in the 5th inning. Sure enough, the Angels get 6 runs in the 6th. Max Stassi and Phil Gosselin hit home runs. Your household names that most Major League fans know are Max Stassi and Phil Gosselin, and they end up winning 13-10. That is one that I have not had happen to me in a long, long time, to blow an 8-run lead like that and come back. You want to talk about live wagering on money lines for the Tigers at 10-2? I didn't look at it, but I got a feeling that money line live wagering had to be somewhere around plus 1,500 when it was 10-2.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that was a crazy game. Day baseball in the middle of the week, always nuts, and that one proved it. By the way, Max Stassi, for A's fans, he was one of your former high draft picks. He was I think a 2nd-round draft pick as a catcher, came out of Yuba City, and he was going to be the catcher of the future for the A's, and they finally gave up on him, sent him to Houston, and now he's got a home in LA with the Angels down there. So yeah, that was kind of crazy.
That was not good to watch for me yesterday. Let me tell you.
No, that was
brutal to watch.
Just crazy. But
all right, some of the big weekends there
did not get the 500th yesterday.
No,
so
they did not.
We're still on the 500 watch.
I know, but you know what? When it was 10-2, I was still feeling pretty good. We've all had games like that, but not like that. I haven't had that happen in a long time. I've seen blown saves. I've seen walk-off homers against me, but I have not seen a 10-2 lead go down in flames like that very quickly, in fact. All right, weekend series this week. Dodgers-Mets we talked about. Milwaukee has Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Baltimore. Seattle-Houston is going to be a very interesting series. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Seattle only 3 back in the wild card, 6 back in the division, and they won't go away. Even with the trades that they made, they're going to face their old teammates, Kendall Graveman, their closer, before they traded him. Very interesting series in Tampa Bay this weekend.
Best series of the weekend.
Chicago, Tampa Bay, they are going to go at it. White Sox 4 games back of the Rays for the best record in the American League. We talked about Philadelphia, San Diego, Toronto, Detroit. Toronto 9 back in the division, but they're only 3 back in the wild card. Boston, Texas. Is Boston going to turn it around? This might be their weekend to do it. They're going to be in Boston this weekend, and the Yankees-Mets continue their series. All right, let's hit the games real quick. We haven't had a chance to hit the American League games and the Interleague games yet as well. From the lines, Atlanta 225, 10.5 with Cortez and Barnes. Looks like a bullpen game. Charlie Barnes has pitched well for Minnesota. And actually, they played well. Robbie Ray, the All-Star, 270 over Detroit. Tyler Alexander pitching for the Tigers. Cleveland, 114 over those Angels. 9.5. Jose Barria and Henkes. Barria, bullpen guy, but he's gone 5-6 innings lately. Boston, Chris Sale back for the Boston Red Sox. 285 and 9 the total versus Texas. That's in Boston. Don't know if you like the over in that game. You would have to take Boston, but that's a lot of money to lay on Boston. And they are 7 back, and they just had a rough series against the Yankees.
That's a lot of money to lay.
Yeah, second part of the American League. We mentioned Chicago, Tampa Bay. Big weekend this weekend for the top spot in the American League. Lucas Giolito has struggled the last 3 starts. Michael Wacha has not had a good year, and that's why Chicago is favored right there. 116 and 8.5, and then the big one in Houston. Lance McCullers Jr. against Yusei Kikuchi. 180 for Houston and 8.5. That's a lot of money for a rivalry week. I mean, I can't call it a rivalry, but definitely they're 6 back and only 3 back of Oakland. And there's no guarantee about Oakland and San Francisco this weekend, even though they're in Oakland. The A's play the Giants tough, but the Giants have something to play for as well, too, to try and keep the Dodgers at bay as we go back to the weekend series, Charlie.
Yeah, I think this is a weekend to watch Seattle because they need to be serious. I mean, this is a chance to see if they're serious enough to stay competitive in the West. And frankly, I think they are. It's just going to be a problem for them because they've got to play Houston in Houston, and that's always tough. But Seattle, we keep waiting for them to fade, and they won't fade. So
you keep waiting for them to fade. You keep waiting for them to fade.
Well, and don't I? It's just a matter of it keeps happening year after year, and I can only base my future returns on past results. So
let's hit the interleague games real quick. We got 3 interleague series this weekend on the lines. Kansas City and the Cubs. Not really a big series for anybody, but Kansas City did win 3 out of 4. I actually kind of like them. Brad Keller going for the Royals and Zach Davies going for the Chicago Cubs. 9 the total. We haven't gotten. I don't have a weather report. I'll check that out hopefully before the end of the show in the next 7 minutes. But it's August, so it's probably warm and the ball might carry. Atlanta 230 with Max Fried and 10. The Orioles have lost 15 in a row. 230 on the road, still a lot. Baltimore can hit the ball at home, and maybe that 10 might be a good over tonight. And then the A's and Giants in Oakland. We know, living in the Bay Area, what this Bay Bridge series means. James Caprillion has come out and pitched well for Oakland. They're only 3 back of Houston, and if Seattle can do anything with Houston this weekend, this might be a chance for the A's to catch up. Somebody's going to win 2 out of 3, Charlie. Alex Wood, 11-0, off a loss. The Giants lost on Wednesday. That's an unbelievable stat for Alex Wood, who's 11-0, coming off a loss this year and having a really good year for the Giants. Are you surprised the Giants are favored a little bit in Oakland tonight?
Not really. Not really.
It's Oakland, though. They play really well at home. I was a little surprised. I thought it'd be a little bit closer, maybe 105, even odds, maybe 107 for the Giants, or even the A's minus 106.
The Giants have been hot. They're, the power rankings came out, and the Giants right now have jumped into number 1 spot in a lot of power rankings, and, all of those kinds of things get influenced, and the money flow, the money flow is always going to influence the lines as well. And, the money flow here in the Bay Area, and we know that there's no proxy betting going on. And so, the money flow is going to go heavy Giants. So that's going to influence it as well. So, no, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not knocking people, but, I don't see a Cubs-White Sox split hat. I don't see a Mets-Yankees split hat. I definitely don't see a Dodgers-Angels split hat. This is the only area where we have A's-Giants split hats and split jerseys. Can we get rid of that, please?
No.
You like it?
Yeah. Why not?
Well, I don't see them in the other cities.
But this is different. This is different. These are 2 teams that were imported. The Cubs and the White Sox grew
from the 1950s and the 1960s. That's got nothing to do with 2012.
Hey, they were imported. Okay. It's a unique thing. You can see each stadium from the other stadium. It's a unique deal. Let them be unique. Why not?
All right. Well,
You know,
been unique for 24 years.
Mike Krukow, who used to pitch for the Giants and is now one of their TV analysts, absolutely gets apoplectic about it. I'm sorry. People pay their money. Let them root.
No, I agree. Let them wear it, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Just like I don't have to like the New York Yankees or the Atlanta Braves or the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, you know that I lean heavy A's. Okay. Yeah. Because when I came here, I was a Cincinnati Reds fan. I still lean Cincinnati, and I'm a heavy A's guy because I never had an American League team. But you know what? I've been gone from Cincinnati for I was dinosaurs are now going where.
So why don't you wear a Reds A's split hat then?
Because that wouldn't make any sense.
It wouldn't make any, just like this doesn't. All right. Anyway, let's move on here. We're here every Mondays.
Okay, I don't wear a split hat.
Yeah,
so when I go to the games, I don't. What's the name of the park now? Oracle. You know, they renamed it 54 times. When I go to Oracle, I wear an A's hat. So there you go.
All right. Sorry, Phil. Give me a call. We'll talk it out. We'll hug it out. I apologize. All right. Back to, we're here every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 3 o'clock on Mondays, 12 o'clock on Thursdays, and 1 o'clock on Fridays on Facebook and YouTube. We got a lot of Facebook connections today, so we appreciate it as well. Facebook and YouTube Live. If you miss any of it, you can download, subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you get your podcasts. Anywhere you get your podcasts, we appreciate the support. We're sponsored by. Check out our social media as well, too. By 6 Eastern, we'll have picks as well. We're sponsored by Britannia Arms of Cupertino, Silicon Valley's oldest British restaurant and pub since 1981. You get them at BritanniaArmsDeanza.com. 408-257-7262. Great place. Mention you heard the Make the Money and Run podcast to the Britannia Arms people, and maybe they'll take care of you or charge you double. They won't charge you double, I promise. I promise they won't charge you double.
My bangers and mash and Bass Ale are being door dashed here for tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. so I can watch the Premier League in the right style.
All right, Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We're all set up for that. Thanks to everybody that downloads and subscribes. All right, the last 2.5 minutes here. Let's get to our world famous yet unsponsored picks. We're sponsored by the show, but we're not sponsored on the picks yet. We got to find somebody to get our sponsored picks here going. Charlie, take it away with the picks for the weekend.
Well, first of all, I looked at that Kansas City Cubs game, and I don't know. I'm feeling like a wild and crazy guy today. So I am going to take the Cubs as a home underdog because, you know, I love home underdogs, and I'm going to take the Cubs plus 100. Then in that San Francisco-Oakland game, I'm going to take the under 8.5. Now, why would I do that? Because it's Oakland at night. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, this time of the year, Carl the Fog comes in. And the ball does not carry in Oakland.
Carl the Fog's in San Francisco, not in Oakland.
Of course he comes in Oakland. Comes right over top. When's the last time you were at the Coliseum? Good Lord, man.
2 weeks ago.
The great stuff is it's hanging over the Coliseum.
I might be there Sunday, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, that'll be a day game. That doesn't count.
All right. We have an MLS sighting here. Holy cow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have decided that I am going to immerse myself in the beautiful game. And I'm going to start off easy because I don't know enough about Premier League yet and La Liga to jump in. So I'm going to jump in easy getting into MLS. So I'm going to start off with the Quakes in LA, and I'm going to take the under 3. So we'll see how I do. I'm not putting a whole bunch of units on it. I'm only going a quarter unit, but MLS, San Jose versus LA, under 3.
Under 3 on LS. Thank you for the compliment, Phil, by the way. All right, let's go on to my picks here. I don't know much about soccer yet. Is that for okay, so let's make sure we get this right for everybody. Is that for regulation time? How does it work in the over-unders if they go to overtime?
I don't have.
All right, we'll get back to it later. We got 45. All right, we got 45 seconds. Let me run through here. Cincinnati with sunny gray. Colorado tonight. The Dodgers. The Yankees. Seattle plus 170 at Houston. Oakland plus 106 at home. In the NFL, I'm going to go over 41. Kansas City and Arizona, and I'm going to take those Bengals at plus 5.5. Thank you, Britannia Arms, for all you do for us. We appreciate it. Britannia Arms of Cupertino. Since 1981, there's all the information. We will see you on Monday. Keep checking our social media for picks and updates as we go on along. Charlie O, Vasi Vada Party, have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. As always, good luck. That's the Make the Money and Run podcast